Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. Excellencies, friends of the Dar, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. al-Athar al-Islamiyyah always has the pleasure to bring to Kuwait some of the foremost experts in Islamic art. This is indeed one of those times. Tonight, we welcome Professor Giovanni Curatola. As you can see from his extensive and very impressive CV, his career has been quite impressive, and he is no stranger to the Dar. Not only had he delivered a lecture here during the 7th season, but he recently, in Milan, he was a curator and organizer of an exhibition of the Sabah collection. Giovanni Curatola is a professor of archaeology and Islamic art at the University of Studies in Udine, Italy. As you can see from the handout you probably have received at the door, his expertise in the field is reflected in the variety and scope of the many books and articles that he had produced. We've had many lecturers on the art of Persia here at the Dar. Each one of these scholars brings with them a new view, a fresh outlook. We then see these works of art through almost a new set of eyes. Tonight, Professor Curatola will discuss the Friday Mosque of Isfahan. This is a subject he knows intimately, since he literally had a hand in the upkeep and survival of this magnificent building. He was part of an archaeological mission that worked on the mosque in 1977. Those members of the Dar who were with us during a trip to Isfahan will not only appreciate its lecture, but perhaps wish that they have heard it before they went on that trip. Well, I think I just created a justification for another trip to go to Isfahan. There is, however, we give a courtesy to the gentleman who has been with us before and now he's with us again, a special courtesy. It's known turning the mobile phone off. So please make sure you turn your mobiles off, and let's welcome Professor Curatola.
Thank you so much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies. I'm very happy to be here again after 10 years in the Dar al-Athar al-Islamiyyah and delivering what is not a lecture but a tale about a monument which is a very important monument that I have with me since many years. I visited Isfahan the first time in 1974. At the time I was young, not anymore, and it was in 1977 which I went to the archaeological mission in Isfahan. And I still remember as yesterday that the archaeologist, Professor Umberto Scerrato, who was the head of the mission, the archaeological mission, has shown me the mosque in 20 minutes. And all the time he was saying, "Have you understood?" I said, "Yes, yes, yes." At the end of these 20 minutes, I was completely confused. And I was thinking going back to Italy, and because it was too much complicated to me understanding this mosque. Then I spent 6 months there working and digging, and I think that something came out from the mosque. So the first person who I must thank was Professor Scerrato, who passed away some time ago, who was brave enough to bring a young person to make this important excavation with him. The second person is architect Eugenio Galdieri, who was the head of another mission, which was the restoration mission of the mosque. They were 2 Italians, and as you have 2 Italians, you have 3 opinions. So it was not always easy getting together these two very important personalities and scholars, because one was saying, yes, we must dig. The other one said, yes, but the dome will collapse after you have gone 7 meters under the level of the floor. And so but Galdieri also gave me a lot of information, and I am very happy to have been not his pupil, but very close to him and learned a lot by him. And the third person, which is not a person, is the mosque itself. I think that archaeology is a nice job when you find things. When you don't find anything, it's a very boring job. You have to do with earth and earth and earth, and finding nothing is really frustrating. But also is a job in which you must ask questions. And if you are lucky enough, the monument gives you answers. But the monument is brighter than you are and gives only the answer he wants to give you. If you already have in mind an answer, that will not come out, because this is not the way that you should do archaeology. So now go on in looking at where it is. Isfahan, I'm very proud I have put all these red signs and green and colors. It has been very hard for me to learn how to do these kind of things. These and I have also this one which is precious, and I like it very much because it looks like. This is the Friday Mosque. This is the bazaar, and this is a street which was cut through Isfahan in the late 60s and 70s, and which cut the bazaar. This bazaar was going on here, and here you have the minaret of Ali, and here I centered in red what it was the Maidan Zabs, which was former square there in Isfahan. I like so much this slide that this is the minaret of Ali. No more a mosque there, but this is the bazaar and gives the idea of what it is. And this is a picture which I have taken few days ago, let's say it's in September 2011, are the works in the former square we have seen. And here you can see the minaret, and again here the minaret, because they are thinking to build again a square. They say we are going to build a square as it was in the 12th century. Hope it is something which is effective and which is good enough. I don't know what they have in mind. Of course, going so deep means they are going to build a parking lot. In the 12th century, there were not parking lots, even for camels. No, nothing at all. So we will see in few years what is going to be. Hope is not disturbing the mosque at all. No, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. And then this. So this is the Friday Mosque seen from the Ali Kapu Talar, I mean the famous terrace in the Shah Square. And this is the Friday Mosque, and this is the minaret of Ali, just to give you a different perspective. The bazaar and the enormous mosque, which is really a big one, is not an easy mosque. In 1938-39, Schroeder has made this map with all the numbers of the vaults and all the structure as it was and still is after some restorations, but basically this is the plan, the map of the mosque nowadays. And as you can see, is a very large one and is a rather complicated one which we have. As an astronometry, so you can see how the design has been developed in the mosque and how it's going on. But we are going to trace the story of the mosque quite step by step. And you will see and discover that is a very important story of this mosque and which has been built and rebuilt many times, and hope you get not confused. So this must be said, and it's sad to say it, this is a rebuilt vault after the war, Iran-Iraq, a missile fell here and destroyed these walls. Thanks God, didn't fell, let's say, 50 meters on the right side of the place, which is here, not here, because if it was falling down here, the Nizam al-Mulk dome, which is one of the masterpieces of not only Iranian architecture, I should say Islamic architecture, could be completely destroyed. Of course, it has been reconstructed with the plans and photographs of the original design. Starting with the history of this mosque. So you have 3 phases, at least. The first one, which is this one, is an Abbasid mosque which has been built in 772, 159 Hijra. Then, and is here, we have then a second Abbasid mosque which has been built in the year 1841. And again, we have a third mosque, which was done by restricting the court, and that it was in the 10th century, it was an Buid idea. So they restricted the court and they made larger the mosque, the prayer hall. How we know these things? We know these things because we have done all these excavations. And here you have the Qibli wall, and this is the map of how is nowadays the mosque, I mean, the Schroeder map of 38, 39. These are the places where we were working, and all the time when you see archaeological diggings, you don't understand anything. It's really, it's complicated because you say, here it is this and that, you see, it's very easy, you can see, and then. So you must trust me in what I am saying. There is no other way because now it has been covered back, so it's like this. But the very important place is this one. This one is the Mihrab of the 7072 mosque. You see, here is the Mihrab, and here is the Mihrab. And you see something which is here different. So you have a different orientation of the mosque. They corrected the orientation, and so digging under the dome, we found the old Mihrab. Now it's nice to say that maybe it's nice, maybe it's nasty, I don't know. You choose what is you prefer, the version you prefer, that the first direction is the right one. And the actual, real now direction of the Mihrab is the wrong one. Or at least is more close to the origin, I mean to the Qibla, to Mecca. The first one, I have figures which I must take glasses to look at, that the original has 228 and 50 north, and the real one is 225 degrees and 56, which is more close to the origin. The good one is 225 and 56. So let's say that by mistake they have changed their direction, and in changing the direction of the mosque, of the Mihrab, we could find it. Because if it was under the same place, it was destroyed. We have, of course, also some references in sources which tell us the story of the mosque and when it has been built, this first mosque. And also, the very interesting point is that it's given the measurements of the Qibli wall. And the sources say that it should be about 55.08 in length, in breadth, and 91.8 meters in length. Actually, we find that this wall was 55 meters. So exactly what it has been written in the sources, in the written sources. The point is that the Mihrab was found in the year 1976, 5 and 6, into the excavation. In 1977, we went on working on this part of the mosque, not anymore here, also we were going on here, but nearby. And the nearby section was the section which I was actually excavating. This is the Mihrab. There are little remains of stucco work here and here. It's again, the Mihrab is here. And when going on, this was my place. I mean, close to the Nizam al-Mulk, but not under the Nizam al-Mulk. This was the section which I was excavating personally. And I have to say that it was really wonderful being there. Not always, because, you know, it's rather complicated. In these photographs, these are the original photographs of 1977, which I have taken in the excavations. This is a well. So you can imagine having a well here. This was a Seljuk, so later level. And this is the wall, mud brick wall of the mosque. To dig mud brick wall is very difficult because earth is earth. And as we say I mean, joking as archaeologists, we say you have eaten the wall because you don't recognize that the earth, because it's not easy to detect which, after so many years, what happens. So I still remember that I had a very good team of workers there, Iranians, and I left some protection here. I mean, I left earth here. And I was working in another place, and suddenly one of the workers came to me and said, you must come very fast to the place, to the main place, because something happened. And as all the time I was asking for a worker to come with me, he was saying, wait a moment, wait a moment. I said to him, wait a moment. You say me, I say to you. And I went there after 15 minutes. And I discovered that some of these young people who was there jumped on the 20 centimeters left, and the part of the wall which I artificially left collapsed, and some stucco work was coming out. So what I was furious. I said, why you didn't call me right at the beginning? He said, we have done. No, you haven't done. I mean, and so I was furious. Then I called Professor Curatola, and together we decided to go down and look what it was. It was a fragment of stucco which was fall down, or it was the continuation of the very tiny little pieces of stucco which we found in the Mihrab. The Mihrab, you know, is very important because the Mihrab gives you the length of the things, but because the Mihrab is in the middle. But of course, the continuation of the wall was, and that is what we found, which usually people doesn't see when he's in Isfahan, because of course already has been covered by earth and is not visible to the public. And here you see these stucco panels, very interesting, dated to the 772, 773. And of course, it was a great emotion. The part which was coming out was this one, of course, this little part. And then, going on, we found this other part. And this is very interesting, this little part, because this is a restoration which has been done at the time of the mosque itself, so between 772 and 1841. So these are the very nice stucco decorations of this mosque. Going on with the other periods of the mosque, we should say that we had a buoyed, as I mentioned, here is the buoyed court, and the only point which gives you, and this is the reconstruction of the plan with the buoyed column here, is this column, which is some of the slides, the images are not so clear, I apologize about this, but I wanted to have all my slides. So the range of slides you are going to see are from 1974 to last September, and all are, except the one of the finds, are slides or photographs which I have done. And you see, this is a very typical way of building with this brick of the buoyed period. And we have in Isfahan another monument, which is the Al-Hakim Mosque in the 10th century. And you can see that it's very similar the way they were using brick to the Isfahan column. So we have already three phases of this mosque. The first one, which has been the Abbasid one, a second Abbasid mosque, 1841, a third mosque, which is the buoyed one. Then we have the Seljuk period, which is probably, not probably, is the most important for the mosque in one way. And according to Galdieri, this is the dome which has been built by Nizam al-Mulk. And this is the reconstruction, again, is a drawing by Galdieri of how it has been built, the dome, and not yet been built the Ivan, which is connecting the Sahn, the courtyard, to the dome. So it's, and at the same time, or more or less at the same time, they have built also this small, little dome, not so little, but smaller than the Nizam al-Mulk, and has been done by a vizier who was the rival of Nizam al-Mulk, Taj al-Mulk. Again, here is the reconstruction, how it is been built, the dome of Nizam al-Mulk. And here you have pictures taken by the roof, on the roof, and here you have the dome of Nizam al-Mulk, external view, and the Ivan, which is going on later on, and the two minarets, which mark the Qibli Ivan. Another image of the same dome. And we have a third one. Here is very clear how it's going to be built, the Ivan. It's easy to detect how is the building system of the Ivan. And here we have two little doors which bring up in the Nizam al-Mulk dome. So here we have the first mosque. I have forgotten to say something, how we know how big it was, the mosque. Because in 1997, after finding this nice, very nice stucco work, Professor Curatola had to go back to Italy because he was starting his term at the university and left us in charge with the excavations. But he told, of course, to all the archaeologists and to myself personally that I should find the angle of the mosque, because if we didn't find the angle, you could not have this reconstruction. So I digged this part, and we found the angle. I have seen the wall making the angle. And if somebody is going now and taking, again, excavations here, he will find more stucco work, because I have seen that there was some stucco work. Then the season was at the end. It was almost Christmas. Sorry, I sent a telegram to Curatola. I found the angle. He was very happy. And then we left. And then, you know, in 1978, the mission was there, but was not possible to dig because there was already starting the Iranian Revolution, and that's for the Italian mission, archaeological mission, that was the last year of digging there. Anyway, going back, this is the big Basset Mosque, and here is the 4 events, 1, 2, 3, 4, which were built during the Seljuk period, which is the 11th century. And the dome built by Nizam al-Mulk, I wrote 190 circa because it's 187 and it's not so clear. And in green are marked all the trench of excavations we have done during the excavation. So the green parts are the parts of the mosque which were excavated by us in between 1972, 1973, up to 1978. Again, you have the main map and main plan with the Nizam al-Mulk dome on top, and on the bottom, the Taj al-Mulk dome. Here is the Nizam al-Mulk dome, and in this picture, you see the Nizam al-Mulk dome as it was during the Seljuk period. Then it has been built other things which doesn't appear in this slide, but you have here. And nowadays, half of the dome is in the condition you have seen before, and half of the dome is in this condition, as this is an historical al-Khanid, that means beginning of the 14th century, so not yesterday work that has been done on the Nizam al-Mulk. Probably, look, this is now on the other side of the mosque is open, this part, because they thought that probably the dome was too heavy and that they have to strengthen this part to support the big dome, which is there. So Eugenio Galdieri has chosen to leave half of the mosque with this white plaster and half in the other way, so to show how it was. Here is, again, the same image. Here you have for instance, how it was the original Seljuk design. And here you have the al-Khanid, beginning of 14th century design of the walls. And again, a view of this dome. But I have to say that Nizam al-Mulk is really astonishing, is big, is really a masterpiece of architecture. Thinking that we are at the end of the 11th century is one of the most important domes in Islamic architecture. Again, this is, you see that the inscription here and all brick. You know, I remember that all the time when we were working under this dome, we were passing tourists and so on, and the local guides were saying, you know, This mosque has been built without a piece of wood and without a stone, without a nail, which was, of course, untrue, but people would say, what is the wonder of these things? Here we go to this is a photo of 1974, so I put the date because it was my first visit to this mosque, which then has been very large part of my life in future years. I mean, it's 1997, it was really, I was living there. I was not sleeping there, actually. I was living in town, but I was eating there. We organized the kitchen, and so we've done a lot of things like this in this mosque. This is the dome of Taj al-Mulk. This is the North Ivan, and these are the diggings in 1974, and here is balconies and other things, and this is the domes, little domes. The point is that we never discovered why they had built the second little dome, because it has no mihrab. It's probably an introductory pavilion to host the Sultan when it was coming to the mosque and to rest or something like this. This is the only explanation we can give to this. And if Nizam al-Mulk is nice, is important, whatever you can say, this is a masterpiece. And I think that the most interesting thing is that they go from here up to here, and here starts the dome. You can see here. Is a solution which is very, very simple, but very, very effective. Of course, I know I am not able to bring, I'm trying with my brain to bring you inside the mosque, because architecture is something that you should live. You should be inside and looking at it. And it's, when you are here, you are in this dome, the proportions of the dome are absolutely astonishing. You could not change 20 centimeters, because if you put other 20 centimeters, it's become really ugly. It's like beautiful women. You cannot add 20 centimeters to a beautiful woman. It's impossible. I can check here. It's absolutely not possible. And the same happens here, and such a perfection is unbelievable, in my opinion. And again, we are at the end of the 11th century, and we don't have such an architecture in Europe of this quality in brick at the same time. It's really, and that means that it was a great architect, of course. That they have a great sultan, of course. That they have a great society, because that means the organization of their workshop and all what is involved in building something. It's not so easy to build something. I know that architects are here. I'm not going further on this subject, otherwise I am in problems. And here you have what I was saying, this direction going up, and the dome, this large dome, again with the inscriptions there. So, Taj al-Mulk and Nizam al-Mulk, two viziers which were rivals. Thanks God we had to do rivals. So we have these masterpieces. So when I said, oh yes, we have different parties, thanks God we have different parties and different people who takes care of building these things. I'm sorry, this is not so brilliant. We have another one. And also this star pattern in the dome is astonishing. And you have seals around which make the decoration clear. After they built the two domes, so we have, summing up at the mid of the thing, we had the first Abbasid, the second Abbasid, the Buid one. Then we have the Seljuk, which built the two domes. And then they built the 4 Ivan, 1, 2, 3, and 4 here. This is the Ivan South that you have, of course, this has the 2 minarets of the same period, and which mark that is the Qibli one. So we are going to see it a bit closer. Of course, the blue tiles are the Safavid period addition. And here you have, this is the Mukarnas walls of the, always the same Ivan, the south Ivan, with, of course, this decoration, which is an epigraphic decoration. And here I marked another period, because everybody was coming to Isfahan, a new dynasty, said, oh, what you have here, oh, you have the Friday Mosque? Nice. I want to do something. And everybody has done something to add beauty to this mosque. So it's really astonishing. And all the workmanship which was there was the first-class workmanship. So this is the place where they are, this red square, very good, very well done. And here you have the Muzaffarid, which is, again, after the Mongol period, after the beginning of the 14th century, when the Mongols, the Ilkhans, have done these kind of things, the Muzaffarid has added these panels here. And this is an image of this panel, which is green color and blue and the epigraphic stars. And I like this very much because it's modern art. It's contemporary art, and it's really, really fresh, and with, you have epigraphy, you have arabesque, you have geometry, so you have the sections of the exhibition we have organized in Alfan, in Milano and Vienna. And I'm sorry about this, but my colleague is not a colleague, who makes photographs for me and changes my slides to digital one, doesn't know Arabic, and so he has put the slide in reverse, so it's reversed. I'm very sorry about this. When I checked it, I had no time to change it, and so I'm sorry about this. And these are the two panels, again Muzaffarid period, and with the vase and this decoration, which is lovely decoration. And we go farther on to the Ivan Sud, South Ivan, and Ivan West. And we have a look to the Ivan West. Again, always is the beginning of the Seljuk period, so it's the 12th century. And this is very nice. The way the Mukarnas has been done. And here you have entire, and then you have a close-up, which is the same, which is on the poster outside to announce my conversation. And again, this one, and I want to show you how it is on the back, because always we look we are going on the backstage, which means on the roof of the mosque, to show how complex is the idea and the way to build this kind of thing. So this is a side view. This is another side view, always from the roofs of the mosque. And this is astonishing. You can see the lines. You can see exactly how it was complicated to do. Because when you are in front, you don't suspect that behind this there is such a nice and important structure which holds all the thing. And now we have the North Ivan with the Taj al-Mulk dome, which you already have seen, and the East Ivan, which are both very interesting. This is the North Ivan, and here is the columns, which is this place of the Seljuk period, because it's a forest of columns, you know, it's really, really fascinating to look at them. Here again, and this is the East Ivan, with, again, you have these things. I have made two photographs of this part, close-up photographs. They are not so clear, not perfectly clear, but it's interesting to see again what it's possible to see in this part. I mean, it's a sort of dream, and again, the workmanship and the idea of doing these kind of things is very nice. And on the East Ivan, we have all these seals of the Seljuk period, which make an epigraphy, you can see, and here is quite clear. So we were in the, I told you, in the Seljuk period with the 4 Ivan. So then arrived the Ilkhanids. And mainly it was the Sultan was Uljaitu. And Uljaitu said, should I leave something as memory I passed here? And he has built here the most astonishing mihrab. I'm sorry, again, it's not so clear, but we have details which are better. Stucco work, dated 1310, which is, again, one of the masterpieces of stucco work in all Iran, and probably not only in Iran. This is really, really one very nice piece of art. By the way, in the text, Uljaitu, you know, he was from Ilkhanid, he converted to Islam, but he was convinced, but not so much. So he doesn't speak so much about God. He speaks of himself, and it is quite curious to see this attitude in that sovereign. And here is the minbar. Again, is dated to the beginning of the 14th century. It's not enough. We have another part which is very close to the one we were looking at. This is the room of the Uljaitu Mihrab. And here we have the Shabestan. The Shabestan is the winter prayer room. And we could not decide from the finds if it has been built in the late Timurid period or in the beginning of the Safavid period. So it means 16th or 15th or 16th century. Because the finds, it's complicated. I don't want to bore you with all the details about this, but again, we don't know, but of course has been maybe Timurid, maybe beginning of the Safavid period. And again, is a completely different kind of architecture and completely different attitude. Here it is. And it's really fascinating. And the light is low, and you have these alabaster things which give you the light. And when you come inside, really you feel the difference, and you feel a completely different atmosphere, and to be in another masterpiece of architecture. And I have taken details. That, of course, for modern architects is more than a lesson, I think. And again, these lines, modern, very poor, no decoration, nothing. It's only the structure. I think that, of course, you have in Isfahan other masterpieces of architecture, let's say Sheikh Al-Tufullah or the Shah Mosque, where you have all these colors, this blue, and this is like a dream in one way. But this is the triumph of structure, the poor structure, which is the essence of architecture. Muzaffarid, back to the Muzaffarid period, which means the end of the 14th century, we have a madrasa. They have done everything. Yeah, put a madrasa. We don't have a madrasa, we put a madrasa. And the Muzaffarid come and put a madrasa here. And here you have the big madrasa. I am, you know, emotionally involved because this is not a prison, but was my office, you know. They sent me away. They sent me away by the main office and said, no, it's better you stay alone here. And so I had this office here with my sherds of pottery. This is the mihrab, again, of the Muzaffarid 14th century, end of 14th century, 1370, around 1370 period. Here you have an arch, and then we have the vault of the Ivan. And it's, again, so many different styles, but you have a unity which is given by Islamic architecture. Again, you have the South, Ivan, Seljuk period pillars and other things like these. And back to the Timurid period. The Timurids has not done so many things in the mosque. What they have done all which is marked in red here is alabaster or onyx better, that has been put on the walls to enrich the walls of the mosque. And at the corners, I marked all these things. It has taken me 2 hours to make all these crosses. It's here, no? This is, but I'm very proud of it. I will keep it as a signed thing. And they put this, it's not very clear, I have better images now. These very slender columns decorated in onyx, which are very nice. They have done also another thing. They have paved this Ivan, which is the South Ivan, and this Ivan, this dome, which is the Nizam al-Mulk dome, with onyx. And it was deep like this. It has taken 1 year. The 1973 mission was just to take out this very deep alabaster or onyx pavement. Here you have the details of these columns. And I have another one here with the capitals. It's very, very nice indeed to me. And here you have the close-up of the flowers and very classical Timurid style, which everybody of you knows well. This is something which is, I'm sorry, the quality of the image, but it's very, very rare. This is a painting made on a column of the mosque, probably in the 17th century. We think, because it has been published by my colleague Maria Vittoria Fontana, and we think that it probably has been somebody went to the Hajj and coming back from the Hajj and has depicted the mosque on a wall of a column as a ex voto or a gift or something like this. We are going to close our speech. I'm sorry it takes so much time, and I want to show you few objects which come from this is painted plaster and this is plain plaster, which has been found in the excavations. We have few of these things. We have plenty of shards, which are young people is now studying. You have two minai and luster and blue and white and other things which come from there. And then they thought me I have to put a bibliography, so I should put a short bibliography because a lot of people has written about the Friday Mosque of Isfahan. And so I think that that's all, and I thank you very much indeed for your patience.